Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. Thanks for joining us on WCNC Charlotte To Go. That's right, she's ready to go. She's got her bells on, antlers on as well. Hey, folks, we want to know, are you going to be home for the holidays? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Maybe you're going to be working like us. Maybe you have other plans. Either way, chime in. Let us know, are you going to be home for the holidays? If not, where else you're going to be? We're going to get to more on that just a bit. But first, candy canes.
Let's talk about candy canes. Now, Becca, I know you're not a huge fan of candy canes as we talk about candy canes.
Yeah, it's just the peppermint flavors I don't like.
In general.
I've never liked, and I can smell it from a mile away, too. So, not my favorite. Not to be the Grinch this morning. Yeah.
But candy canes, they're everywhere this time of the year. But do you know how they actually became a thing? Take a look.
How did the sweet treat become such a holiday staple and get its iconic look? Let's connect the dots. While candy canes were first documented here in the U.S. back in 1847, the National Confectioners Association says the candy didn't really catch on until the 1950s. The treat came over from Germany, and it was mostly just a candy stick. But people wanted to use them as tree decorations, so candy makers started twisting them into canes. But cane or stick, they remain a big part of the holiday season. CandyStore.com says the U.S. produces at least 1.7 billion candy canes every year, and 90% of them are sold in the weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And that is Connecting the Dots.
And Becca is one of them not buying any of them.
Sorry.
It's so interesting to me that before they were canes, they were just candy sticks.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I guess that's cool. I'm cool with that. I like candy canes. I actually don't like the different types of flavors. I only like the original.
Oh, I like the Jolly Rancher, the Skittles. I'm like a little child.
Sacrilege. Skittle candy canes.
Feels like a lot.
I'm not
I can eat a whole pack.
That's right.
Yeah.
Christmas is here, and for some parents, the holiday season can come with an added burden of realizing your kids may not be coming home for Christmas. Either they're in college or maybe they're off on their own and starting a new job. You never know.
Well, therapists actually say if your kids decide not to visit, it's important to remember that it is not always about you. That's what they say. They suggest trying to show empathy and keeping lines of communication open despite the kid's decision not to come. Experts also say it's normal for adult children to prioritize their own needs during the holidays. So instead of dwelling on the perfect family, focusing on the small moments that bring you joy and finding new ways to celebrate. I actually feel a little conflicted about this one because I think that is a tough pill to swallow. I know there are going to be a lot of mamas and a lot of dads that are sad and that it weighs heavy that their kids won't come. I will say, you know, as people get older and they have their own kind of families, the traditions do change. So there does have to be kind of an expectation that it's okay for things to be a little bit different. But at least a call to mom or dad.
Absolutely. That goes without saying, at least a call. But it's right. I mean, being in this business, I've often worked on the holiday. So I guess I don't see it as a big deal just because I feel like, you know, people have obligations sometimes they're not in control of. But I mean, I certainly know a lot of people, and if they're not home for Christmas or something, it is a big, big, big deal. But I mean, I do get it. As families grow, and especially in today's environment, people move. You know, it's not like 100 years ago of where you were born and raised in the same town and you never left that town. And so oftentimes, especially in a city like Charlotte, I think Charlotte can really identify with this as a city of transplants. You know, there's so many people who aren't here originally, but have moved here. So something probably a lot of these folks are dealing with.
Yeah, technology, thankfully, has grown so much. So a FaceTime to mom or dad definitely will be needed for the holidays.
Yeah. I mean, if I try to see all my family for the holidays, I'd have to go to about 7 different places.
Yes.
7 different cities across the country. Like, it'd be impossible.
Yeah, you can't do it all. You're not Santa.
I'm only one person. I am not Santa, and I'm not a magical elf either.
Well, if you make it to the party, there are some things to think about because whether it's a family get-together or meeting with friends, there's a proper party etiquette. So here is what experts say. They actually say it's okay to be a little bit late, like 5 or 10 minutes, but if you're over 15 minutes late, then that can be considered rude. Another tip, before you just show up with drinks or food, make sure that you ask if you should bring something. And that's because the host may already have a menu that they want to stick to. Finally, make a list of some topics that would make good conversation in case things get a little dull. What are your thoughts?
That sounds like a very serious party.
It does. It does. A lot to think about.
Most Christmas parties I've attended, you show up whenever you want to show up. They're drop-ins. It's expected that you will not be there.
Exactly.
At a time. And the menu, I mean, granted, it sounds like that, whatever party that is
it's
very
a formal
nice.
Party.
It has a nice dinner menu, but usually a host appreciates whatever you might bring. And from my experience, I don't know. But again, maybe this is a very stuffy party.
Unless there is a planned itinerary for the night, maybe it's game night, then I feel like you can kind of just show up. You know, within the hour.
Usually, right?
Hour, right? Yeah.
Watching the Housewives, what is it? The Housewives of Beverly Hills. They always throw these grand parties,
Yes.
and they have specific menus. I would not feel comfortable like bringing a pie to the. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think
sure.
that would be.
You show up to Kathy Hilton's Christmas party.
That's right.
You don't need to bring anything
with a random pie.
She will have everything covered for you.
It might be offensive to think that she wouldn't have had her own pies.
If you show up at Kathy Hilton's party, I'm going to be really impressed.
Yeah, you know what?
I mean, like, I'm going to be really impressed. I want to hear all about it, actually.
I will have reached a new
If you
level.
have a +1, let me know.
Or +2.
Or +2. Why not? What was I going to say? We were talking about holiday
parties, yeah.
So the funny thing is, and I bust him on him all the time for this, but my husband gets very enthusiastic about Christmas parties. So he likes to show up early.
Oh.
I'm like, love, you can't do that. That's not a thing. People, if you ever thrown a party, you know that like people are rushing around at the last minute, 5 minutes till people get there, you know, changing things or putting things out or, you know, moving this over there. And I'm like, we can't show up early. He's like, why not? I'm like, because that's stressful for the host. Like they're in rush hour right at that point. Like that is like their last minute time. So I finally talked him down, so we show up like 5 minutes after it starts.
Now, if you show up early, do they kind of get used to you coming early and then just like put you to work?
Yes, but I've tried to make sure that does not happen again because the hosts are terrified when you show up. Honestly, and I've been that host before of where people show up early and you're like, you're here. You know,
Yes.
It's just something to think about. I'd rather you show up late than early, but that's just me.
I agree with that. For sure.
By the way, Joy is down with candy canes, especially the winter mint.
That sounds yummy.
So take that, Becca.
It's my least favorite flavor. Of course, a lot of people like to mix it in with hot chocolate.
That's great.
That's good. Yeah.
Peppermint schnapps with like coffee or hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Amen. All right,
Not
folks.
bad.
Listen, we hope you have a very Merry Christmas Eve, and we will see you back here tomorrow.